how did your typical day look like when you started your Airbnb business again?
Airbnb, I don't even have time for it. Right. I need to pick up as many of these contract jobs as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. I wasn't using half of my brain in the 9 to 5.
Wow. It's such a shame that people magnify the whole content thing. They make it bigger than what it needs to be, because really no one cares about you that much. And you go,
I've posted TikToks with food around my mouth. Have they not gone viral?
Really?
Yeah. Because what I'm saying is helpful to somebody. Can you do things whilst you're working, etc.? Of course you can. Like, we were building that business in the evenings. We were doing recording content 30 minutes on our lunch break.
Actually, I remember one time when dropped my daughter at like a half-term club at my kids' school.
Yes.
And I think you dropped your son.
Yes, I used to take him to that school for half-term.
Yeah. And then she's just so friendly. Like, we just started talking.
Yes, exactly.
And hi guys, and welcome to my podcast show, Woman Empowered. And today we've got a really special guest. I'm so excited to have her. I've got the wonderful Property by Brii. Yay! So Brii, if people don't know you already, can you introduce yourself to us, please?
My name is Brii, short for Sabrina. I am a property entrepreneur. I work mostly in Airbnb. That's what I'm mostly known for. So Airbnb coaching, Airbnb management. My husband and I work together in renting out Airbnbs and short-term rentals.
Oh, amazing. That was a very short intro. She's a superwoman. Yeah. So, we're going to get into everything that she does and what she's all about.
Yes.
So, Brii.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for joining me on my podcast.
It's so exciting.
I'm just so honoured, and I'm just so happy that, you just got a vibe that I just love.
Thank you.
So, I want to know about you and your journey. Like, I heard about you first on TikTok.
Yes, that was my bag.
Yeah. TikTok is where you used to just pop up. Like, your visibility was just amazing. Like, you know what you're doing with TikTok. So I saw you talking about Airbnb, starting it up. And I thought, no, I actually love her energy.
Thank you.
And then you were on Instagram as well. You popped on Instagram.
Yes.
So I want to know, where did it all start? In terms of your journey to Airbnb?
So we started our Airbnb business in 2019. So we started up running Airbnbs, mostly in the Midlands and stuff. That's where our budget could go. We couldn't run them in London when we first started out. So we started running them in Birmingham, etc. And the business was doing perfectly well. And then something we could have never seen happening was COVID. So COVID came along and we shut down the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we went back to our 9 to 5s, and I had another child, and it was time to go back to work. And suddenly you have to produce these nursery fees. The interest rates had gone up, and we were like, we need to start doing a business again, because that's the only way we can make money, because the jobs are not going to give you thousands after tax every month, right?
No.
So then we restarted the journey. However, I thought, let me document what I'm doing this time. Let me become the person that I needed when I started. And that's when I popped up. So I started on TikTok. I was working full time at the time. So I was like, I'll just pick up the phone. No, this is what I'm doing. I'm talking to the landlord, blah, blah, blah. And it really picked up. I think me just kind of sharing, not being behind a paywall, just kind of documenting. And the thing is, I started to become consistent with it. So I would be like, on my lunch break, I record it. Then in the evening, I would edit it and post it. And that was my little schedule, my little routine. So people always talk about, how do you do things outside of a 9 to 5? Can you do things whilst you're working, etc.? Of course you can. Like, we were building that business in the evenings. We were doing recording content 30 minutes on our lunch break.
Wow.
And that's how it started. So I just started posting more and more. Then I would talk about things outside of Airbnb. I would talk about our finances in our marriage, or private school. That's like a touchy subject for a lot of people.
Yes.
And that's how kind of the reach grew.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this thing could be serious. Let me get on Instagram. And then that's where it grew. Yeah,
wow,
that's where
amazing.
it grew in that way. Yeah.
So you started your business in 2019, and COVID, etc. And that's the thing, loads of people were affected by COVID in ways that you can't even anticipate.
Exactly.
And then you got back on board, basically, to increase your income.
My role was public health.
Okay.
So during COVID, my 9 to 5 boomed.
Wow.
Like, the rates people were paying me just to report how many people had caught COVID.
Wow. So what was your job as well?
Actually, I was a data analyst in public health.
Wow.
So I would report on before COVID, it would be like how many children are obese, how many adults smoke.
Okay.
I would find out these figures and then give it to like the council, and they would use that data to make decisions on where they should put their money to invest in the people in the council.
Interesting job.
Yeah, so I loved it. I'm a numbers person, so I love the numbers. I love seeing the trends. I love seeing disparities according to ethnicity, according to socioeconomic status. You know, obesity is higher in Africans compared to Caribbeans, or it's higher in those who are poor compared to those who are rich.
Yeah,
those kind of things was something I absolutely loved. And I would work for councils that were really interesting in terms of London Council. Let's take something like Southwark. You know, it's very rich in London Bridge and very poor in Peckham, but they're all under Southwark. So I would be working on the inequalities massively. And I loved it. And then COVID hit, and all of a sudden, the demand for roles like mine went through the roof because there weren't many of us, and they needed to know how many deaths, how many transmissions, how many children have it, why has it gone up in this area, why has it gone down in that area, and I'll be analysis, dashboard after dashboard.
So unlike most people where they lost jobs in COVID, the demand for your one went up?
Yeah, I went into like contracting daily rates, and the demand was insane. So I think that's what made it easier to be like, let's shut down the business because our 9-to-5s are booming.
Doing well, absolutely. And you were contracting, so it's not like your typical 9-to-5, right? Where you're kind of getting to work at 8 a.m, leaving at 5 p.m. sort of thing.
No, it was completely remote, and it was, you know, silly money, like 600 a day, council job.
What?
Public
Really?
sector, insane. Just because there weren't many of us, and they needed to know the numbers now. You know, it was a pandemic.
Okay.
So something I could have never seen coming was the demand. So I was like, forget the Airbnb. I don't even have time for it.
Right.
I need to pick up as many of these contract jobs as possible.
Yeah. I think anybody will do the same thing in your position.
Yeah. But one thing 9-to-5 does not buy you is freedom. And I think that part was always missing. Like, I have these young children. Yeah, I'm making bag, but
don't have time.
I don't have time.
Yeah.
So that's what was always lingering in the back of my mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you manage it in terms of restarting it and your job, and how did your typical day look like when you started your Airbnb business again?
Yeah, so we chose to use a sourcer, so that's where you pay someone to find it for you, because we were so busy. And I never intended to do social media with it. This was us genuinely needing more money every month,
right?
And knowing that there's this business that works. Why don't we get back into that?
Back into it, yeah.
So we picked up our first one around Berkshire and started running. So we would go there on a weekend, give the kids to our parents, and then go and set the place up, like really back to scratch, you know, from the beginning. And now I think about it, it's like, it's so long since you've done stuff like that, but actually really back to the nitty gritty, going to Dunelm, doing click and collect, you know, picking it up, furnishing the place. And then I was just in the car park for my office, and I picked up my phone and I did my first TikTok.
Wow.
And I was like, so, you know, it's been crazy. This time last week, I didn't know I was going to open up an Airbnb, but we decided enough is enough. We want some money. Let's open up an Airbnb. We've spoken to a sourcer, and it just went from there. Yeah.
Wow. And that's the thing. I think what reasons, I have my reasons why I think that people resonate with you, but what reasons do you feel like it took off on TikTok?
I think because it was just a lot of the not talking so much about how much money this makes every month. You know, a lot of people sell, Airbnb is passive, Airbnb is going to make you loads of money. But I think I was just being like, I'm a real person. I'm a real mum with issues.
Right.
Yeah. I'm in the same, I think it's a lot of, I'm in exactly the same place as you. Yeah.
I agree. I feel like your personality is very, you come off very warm online. You come off very unintimidating. I feel like you come off very approachable.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because, you know, you're a black woman that's talking about Airbnb, and there's not a lot of black women out there talking about Airbnb
or property or money in general.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's great, and you're doing amazing with it.
Thank you.
So I want to know a bit more about your personal life before we delve more into the business, which I will do, but your personal life. So you're a mum.
2 boys.
How old are your boys?
2 and 6.
2 and 6.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're married?
Yeah.
How long have you been married for?
8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
8
Congratulations.
years. Thank you. Yes.
So you guys, both you and your husband, were both working?
Yes. So he was a project manager, like really big company, doing his thing, IT project manager, absolutely fine. Problem was that his office was like 3 hours away.
Wow.
So again,
3 hours.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that came with its challenges as well, like him going to the office once or twice a week, etc. And that's why I always say that there's this underlying current of, okay, money, but no freedom whatsoever.
No freedom. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you guys had your Airbnb business together.
Yes.
So how do you find, like, you know, being a mom, having you're still very young, your kids.
Yes.
And, you know, doing your business as a family, as a couple. How's that?
Yeah. If I'm going to get all the way real, it's not easy.
It's not easy, yeah, I know.
There's the, you know what? There's the pools of mum guilt and wanting to be there for your kids, but also understanding that you're actually there for your kids more because you run a business and you have the flexibility. Like today is a Friday, as you know, it's a half day for the kids. Dubai, so they finish at 11. I can now take them to like Ninja Kids or something because I run a business, because I don't have anyone looking for me on a Friday afternoon. Right. But at the same time, sometimes last night I had a call booked in for 7 p.m. and I had to put the kids to bed by 7. So I actually said to my son, I'm in a rush whilst I was reading the story time book. So the following night, this was 2 nights ago. So last night he said to me, as I was reading his bedtime story, he said to me, are you in a rush? And I was like, sorry, baby, I'm not today. Like those kind of things. It's like, so motherhood has its own thing, and I love that I can be with my son so young. I'm there when he goes to school.
That's amazing.
I'm there when we pick him up. We're there at his sports day, and we're always together. My husband and I are always doing pick up and drop off together. And even in the UK, we'd be the two like walking to the school. You probably saw us walking to the school.
I did. And that's funny. For those of you that don't know, me and Sabrina sort of lived in a similar area in the UK. So it's mad that we're both in Dubai, living in a similar area.
Exactly.
So I would see Sabrina. And the thing is that I saw her on TikTok first and I thought, this woman's face looks familiar. Because you guys used to go for walks, right?
We would walk on the school run.
Yeah, you lot would walk. So I just see you pacing. And actually, I remember one time when I dropped my daughter at like a half-term club at my kid's school. Yes. And I think you dropped your son.
Yes, I used to take him to that school for half-term.
Yeah. And then she's just so friendly. Like we just started talking.
Yes, exactly.
And there's something about Sabrina where it's like she's always been just always had lovely vibes.
Thank you.
But I do always see you guys walking.
And we would have that time with our oldest son. So because we'll be walking for 30 minutes, we'll be talking to him. He'd be on the scooter, chatting to him. So I would love that time with him because it was just no phones. We're walking. What are we on our phone for? So like just the three of us would walk together, walk back. So those kind of things are so precious. But marriage-wise, it's difficult. You know what's difficult is that when you have 2 jobs, you're doing your own thing, then you come together in the middle. But it's very easy to blur the lines of business and day-to-day because all I want to talk about is, have you done this? Have you sent this email? Have you blah, blah, blah? And I can relate, then it's like we can go for a date night, but what are we talking about outside of the business, boo? Like,
oh my God, you are preaching to the choir. Because that's the same thing, we go for it.
And I think it's like, when do you stop pushing? When are you satisfied? But the more money you make, the more you're like, I could get a taste of this. Let's keep pushing. So it's like, when do you put in those boundaries? And I think it's not been easy. I think one thing that's made it easier is having separate responsibilities. Because if you always have to have the last say on everything, you're going to keep butting heads. So we're like, okay, if you completely take care of, let's say, the management, I completely take care of the coaching or whatever it is, then at least that person always has the last say. It makes sharing out responsibilities easier. So
I love
what
that.
We found.
Having roles in a business.
Yes.
So who's the CEO?
And you know what's so funny? That because I'm the one that's online, I'm the one that does the content. Everyone is like, oh my God, Propertywithbrii, blah, blah, blah. The other day, someone spoke to me and I got on a call with them and she was like, oh, I was really hoping to have your husband on the call. I was like, is it?
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I'm not good enough yet.
Gives you a little break.
100%.
Wow.
So I think people are starting to understand more and more there's 2 of us. Even though I'm kind of like the face-to-face, I'm not the CEO. There are 2 of us.
Exactly. No, it's lovely to see that you're both able to work together and have roles in the business, and that's exactly the same like us. Like we have to have roles.
You have to.
Did you explicitly start off and was like, you do this and I do that, or did you kind of just do everything together and then just slowly realize, actually, you're better at this and I'm...
You know, like, I think in our situation, it's literally been, we're doing everything for the first time.
Yeah.
There's nothing we knew how to do properly or knew the right way. We were absolutely on top of each other all the time and was like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
We need to separate this. I remember I had a friend who came and advised me, and she was like, you know, back to the UK, obviously thinking with the UK tax mind, like, you two should have separate salaries and separate money that you play with. And, you know, because we were just doing everything from the same pot. And then it makes finances messy, because when you had different jobs, you got paid into your own bank accounts. We're now all living off the business bank account. And stuff like that becomes messy, because you want to go and do this thing that I don't want to go and do. I want to pay for this. Like, why does, you know, feet, nails, lashes cost £200?
Yeah.
Why have you rented this car for £500? Like, it gets silly.
Wow. And that's real. That's real.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to share your work, essentially, your children, your finances, everything explicitly with your husband. So yeah, it's just like, okay, we're gonna have to learn how to make this work properly. And that's the bits that we don't see on social media, isn't it?
No,
that's the back
end,
office.
You don't see. Wow. No, I love the authenticity, because it is true. It is true. When you're in a business together, finances, it's all going in the same pot, and then you as a woman can feel a bit guilty. You think, oh no, I don't want to take from the pot. And then you think, well, you just rented out this car for like 5k. So that's really good advice to, you know, have some structure around the finances, because it can cause issues, right?
Massively.
You know, the number one cause for divorce is
money,
finances, right?
Yeah, and I completely understand why, because it's wrapped around trust, it's wrapped around a lot of resentment, it's wrapped around a lot of things. So it's like you're making this money together, and sometimes you look back and be like, we didn't even see this money this time last year. So why are we all acting brand new?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Calm down now. God gives and God takes away.
Thank you. Thank you. So
So how did you find the transition from going from corporate and earning well in corporate and going into business? Because with business, I know there's a lot of instability. There's a lot of, what are we making next month? There's a lot of, you know, you don't really know what's going to happen next.
Absolutely.
A lot of faith. So how did you find it? So going from something that's very secure to something that's somewhat, you know, a bit of a risk.
I absolutely struggled with it. If I'm being honest, like, knowing that money's coming in every month, you completely take that for granted, what that feels like, knowing that someone is growing a pension pot for you in 30 years time, all those kind of things. And then to have that taken away from you, especially moving here. When I got here, anxiety was chopping me left and right.
Yeah, let's speak on that a minute as well, because we've not addressed the fact that you've moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
So you've recently moved
like less than 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
And you loving it?
I'm loving it. You know what? I think you've got the right timing, because if you asked me a week ago, I'd have been like, I'm still not liking this place. And I think I said it to you about 2 weeks ago.
We had like a mutual friend birthday party. We were speaking like, Dubai.
I'm not settled. Like, I think now I'm starting to wake up and be like, I live here now.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say, I think I've gone from not liking it to accepting I live here now. I think I need to move down the spectrum a bit more of I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely accepting that I live here.
That you're here now.
Yeah.
You're not still in the UK mentally. You're here now.
I can't go back. Right. Yeah, that's what it is. I think in the back of my mind, maybe a bit of a hypocrite, when I was running a business in the UK, I knew that if S hit the fan, I could go back to my work.
Yeah.
So I did have that safety blanket. Yeah. That doesn't exist anymore.
No.
I got an email from a recruiter the other day being like, there's a job for fully remote. You just have to go in and get your laptop. I was like, from the where? I can't get my laptop from here.
Was it a little bit of you that was like, oh, I missed that old life? 100%. Or you like,
yeah, it was part of me that was like, I wouldn't mind this money every month.
Yeah.
But I reminded myself that they'll be looking for me for 8 hours a day. I can't go back to that.
I can't go back to that.
Once
you can't unsee it once you've seen it.
You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. So it's just about planning your finances properly and making sure you never have to go back to that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, in terms of going into business full time now, it's big leap of faith. Yeah. And very, very scary.
Very scary. Yeah. I think it's really understanding that you have to chase money. You know something about being a 9 to 5, you don't have to ever chase your money. You just have to do what they tell you to do your projects, do what your PowerPoint, your little Excel spreadsheet, and you'll get your money at the end of the month. But knowing that every month you pretty much start on zero. You have to chase your sales. You have to chase, you have to put in as much energy last month as you did this month. And it's exhausting knowing that, I miss annual leave. I said to a friend the other day, I miss being able to switch off. I've not been able to switch off ever. No. I think on my birthday, I was just having a massage, lying on the table, thinking about my next strategy. Right. And now I was like, and I think that was such a sad thing for me. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, you don't stop, do you mentally?
Don't stop.
Even if okay, I can afford a nice holiday or I can afford to get away.
Yes.
You're still thinking about the next month and then next month. Definitely. You're still constantly always on.
Because we're so new in business, like going full time in business, even if we had the Airbnb business before, it was a side hustle. Yeah. It's nothing like it is now. Yeah. So I think it's just a lot of anxiety, if I'm being honest. Yeah. People might look at my situation and be like, she's more than okay.
Yeah, of course.
But then I think I know how quickly money can finish.
Right.
And that keeps me awake at night.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But, I love what you do because, your message is that you can do it. Yeah. Right? You were in a good corporate job and you just you just got fed up of being fed up.
Completely.
And you took the initiative to find something that works and you went all in. You had to bet on yourself, right?
Yes.
So that's what I love about you as well, is that you did bet on yourself, and other people in your situation may think, I'm cool, I'm calm. I can probably start up my own property portfolio just by putting a bit of money aside and just slowly doing it. But, what would you say that businesses brought out in you? Or would you say there's certain things that you've kind of seen in yourself that maybe surprised you in business or a different side of yourself?
If I'm honest, I'm so impressed with myself. I feel like I wasn't using half of my brain in the 9 to 5.
Wow.
And I think that realization of I've normally been a bit of a geek, been a bit of a boffin, and I'd settled for a data analyst job. Yeah. That's how I look back at it. Back then, I carried it on my shoulders. In the UK, when you have a job,
title. Data analyst.
You get a little, money, and you're like, but
why does the UK do that to you as well? Right?
It really
is it a UK thing or is it just a 9 to 5 thing? Because it's like everyone loves the title.
And it's not, and on a real term, even if you make, obviously I don't want to put down any salary, but even if you make 50k, it's a decent salary in the UK. Yeah. But in the real world, it's just,
it's quite limiting.
It's quite limiting. And I feel like,
especially when it comes to your skills, when you realise, actually I've got more skills than this, and you could make 50k in a month, but people don't realise that.
Absolutely. I think one moment, there's sometimes the defining moments in your business. Yeah. One defining moment for me was someone our mentor, someone who'd been in business for years, say to me, you can make 50k a month. He said it to my husband, and my husband came and told me, and I said to him, go and tell him that 10k is fine. Stop making these random numbers. When you see people online or you see people making a lot of money and they say big numbers, you're like, just okay,
whatever. BS.
Yes. BS. And I'm like, tell him that even 10k a month is fine. 10k a month, I can pay all my expenses, I can live okay. Tell him 10k a month is fine. He doesn't have to be doing too much.
Right.
And when I look back and see okay, I've made a 50k month, and be like, it wasn't even that unachievable.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I feel 9 to 5 was stifling me. The money, and we don't even allow ourselves to dream when we're in a 9 to 5. If you ask someone a 9 to 5, how much would you like to make a month that would make you, financially free? They'll definitely give you a number under 20k.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because that's what 9 to 5s give you generally.
No, they do. A year.
Generally, a year.
Yeah, but if you ask them what's your dream money, they'll be they'll definitely not give you a number above 20k a month.
No.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the world is so much bigger than 20k a month. You could do so much more.
So much bigger.
With your personality, with your skills, with your experiences. You can share with the world, and you don't know how much you can touch someone else.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about you, because you've impacted so many lives now in terms of what you do and the advice you give, and just because you took a bet on yourself. And it's so impactful. I feel like when you start to make an impact in people's life, that's when you start to really discover a next level of wealth.
Definitely.
And that's what you're doing. That's what you've tapped into. You're impacting people's lives.
Yes.
You're enabling them to leave their 9 to 5, earn extra money. Yeah. There's no ceiling on that type of industry.
Absolutely. You probably know, when someone can attribute a change in their life to you, there's no price to that. How that feels It's insane. Like, you just want to shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah.
And then it happens again and again. And you're like, actually, I'm onto something. I can actually help people genuinely.
Right.
I'm not going to help you for free.
No.
But I can help you.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's a fair exchange at the end of the day. You know, at the end of the day, if you go to university because you want to get a job at the end of it, you're going to invest in knowledge. So, you know, this is something that works.
Yeah.
So you need to invest in knowledge to know how to do it. You know, it's a fair exchange of value.
Yeah. And I also believe in it because I pay for knowledge.
Right.
I pay for mentorship.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I sleep well at night because I give away lots of free value.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been giving value.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
you do.
Yeah.
You do.
So I'm like, I don't mind getting to that point where you pay for my knowledge, because if you don't want to, that's fine. Absolutely. You just have to scroll through my page and start your business. Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, speaking on mentorship as well, again, like, you know, when you hang around with people that have, that are 6-7 figure earners in business, it's just the norm to invest in yourself. It's not even something that's like, oh, that's interesting. That's new. You know, you know, people that are wealthy, they are constantly investing in mentorship.
That's what I found.
Consistently. And it's almost like before, I feel like it was like a secret society thing. Like, you didn't really know if you didn't know. But now I feel like we live in an age where it's very overt. So I feel like people that are coming up now, people that are thinking of ways to make more money, they're so blessed to be in 2025 in the digital age where you can just go online and look for a mentor. Before, you couldn't do that at all, you know.
I can imagine when you were getting into property, it didn't exist.
No, like, you know, we got into property like 8 years ago now, 2017. And there wasn't like the big mentors that you see now in property, they weren't they weren't there.
They weren't a DM away.
No, exactly. So it's like you had to literally search and search and search and go to events in like a random hotel in like
in the country.
Milton Keynes or something, and then meet somebody and then talk, and then, you know, it was a graft to find a mentor. But, you know, even still, we did find somebody that was able to help us on our journey to start it. So it's like, where there's a will, there's a way. And, you know, in 2025, like you say, you give out free nuggets all the time. You've got TikTok, you've got you got all bases covered. Is there an excuse like in 2025 to be financially struggling? What do you think?
So not everybody's push is money. Some people's push is spending time with their family. But unfortunately, the way the world works, you need the money as a tool to get what you truly want, what your heart's desire is. Like, if you ask me what was my goal, financial goal to make money every month, I didn't really have a goal. People ask me that now. I'm like, can I cover my bills? I'm good. But my goal was, my son is only 2. I want to spend time with them. My son's only 6. I want to spend time with them. So in terms of, are people struggling on purpose? I don't think so, but I do think there's an element to everyone that they know deep down they could do more. Because of fear, they haven't jumped into that opportunity. They haven't started creating their content. I meet so many people who were like, oh my God, how do you do content? How are you consistent? Pick up the camera, sis.
Just pick it up.
Pick it up. And I always say to everyone, you're not busier than me. I'm not going to lie. Like, when I had 2 contracts, 2 kids, and I was doing content creation, you're not busier than me. So I actually don't want to hear it. So I think there's an element to everyone. If you're honest with yourself, even where I've reached in business, there's things that I want to do more. Like, I've been talking for months. Like, I want to start a YouTube channel. I haven't pushed towards it because that's a part of me that I need to battle. Do you see what I mean? Everyone has their battle. So if you're honest with yourself, you'll realize that maybe you could improve your financial situation if you push through that procrastination and push through that fear and realize that your fear is not even real. It's just an anxiety about something that might happen.
Preach.
It's only, fear is what is an imminent danger in front of you that you can see. What is the imminent danger of creating content?
What is it?
What people might say.
Being laughed at?
Being laughed at,
That's
what
what
people
it is.
might say. Let me tell you, when at the beginning, when I was creating content, I went to church and I would get, and you can see, you know when your post has more shares than likes? Because people would be sharing your content, talking about it,
talking about it, but they don't want to support you.
They don't want to support you, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, down the line, people ask you how you did it. People try and sign up to your coaching, which is fine. I never make content about, oh my God, the haters, blah, blah. I don't have energy for that. But you will find that people will support you along the way. And strangers are your biggest supporters. Forget your friends and family and don't take it personally because they didn't sign up to what you started to do. So don't take it personally if they don't follow you.
Yeah.
If they don't support you. It's got nothing to do with you. Just
No.
focus on what you have. My biggest fans, my biggest supporters, people that really cheer me on, or when I moved here were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Complete strangers. Amount of messages I get, I've been following you since this, I've been following you since that, it's amazing. So don't worry about it, just pick up the camera and start.
What's the worst that's going to happen?
What's the worst that's going to happen?
You get 1 like on a post. Okay.
Do
another one.
I always say this, even up till now, I say my page is not big enough for me to be sweating if I make a bad post.
Right.
I haven't got 500,000 followers. It's not that deep.
Right. Yeah. Say that again.
Yeah. Like even if I had
deep.
20,000 followers, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
The world is so big. Not everyone's watching. And even if people laugh at your post, guess what? They'll scroll through and forget about it.
Yeah. That's what I always say. Like, you know, it's people's, what is it called? Attention spans are fried now. Absolutely fried. So even if you do a post and you think, I don't like, oh my God, my hair looks a bit. Listen, after a couple of seconds, people are over it. They're on to the next. So they really don't care. It's really not that deep. And it's such a shame that people magnify the whole content thing. They make it bigger than what it needs to be, because really no one cares about you that much.
No. Preach. I always want to say it without being this blunt. No one cares about you that much.
No,
like
they don't.
I've posted TikToks with food around my mouth. Have they not gone viral?
Really?
Yeah.
I love
Because
that.
what I'm saying is helpful to somebody. So I've seen it and I'm like, why have I got crumbs around my mouth? I'm not going to post that. And then I've been like, F it, it's full of value.
Yeah, no one noticed. No one even cares.
No one cares. And not a single comment has even mentioned it.
Wow.
They're all like, this is helpful, thanks. They're DMing me Airbnb, I want to join this. Like, they don't care.
People on social media, my husband always says that people are out to get what they need to get from you, right? So if you're giving out value, they're going to take, he uses the word selfish, and it is true. Like, people are selfish. You scrolling, is this worth my 5 seconds?
100%.
Am I going to learn something from this?
Exactly.
If I am, okay, cool, I'll support. If not, next. So, you know, as long as you're giving out value and you're being authentic, that's the thing. And especially I'll say about you, your personality, you're being yourself, you're not trying to be somebody else, you're not being stiff, you know, just your personality is coming through, and people you can feel it. I don't know what it is, but people can feel authenticity online.
100%. And most of my clients, the first thing they say to me is that I approached you because you seemed real. I approached you because you seemed authentic. So, and I'm actually so hell-bent on that I still take all of my sales calls. So
really?
If you try and get through to me, you will get hold of, I will be the one on the call, because I'm just like, I'm still quite big on being the real person and being the person there. And if the business scales and I can't capacitate anymore, that's fine. It is what it is. But I'm quite big on the authenticity thing as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I want to talk to you a little bit about faith. Because, you know, I know you're a woman of God as well. Yes. And I remember when I first met you, so this was last year, October. Yes. We went for a meal and we were speaking about faith. Your husband started speaking about faith, and we just started speaking about faith, all of us. Yes. So, I mean, how do you feel like God has played a role in your journey?
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively. Like, he's overdone it. Like, it has blown my mind. So, our family went to a church in the UK for years. We got married there, dedicated our children there, etc., etc. Beautiful church. So coming here and being like, losing that grounding was difficult. And we knew that we would come here and find a church. And I've loved it, to be honest. I've kind of liked attending church here. But I think in our household, in our marriage, it's been like, I still cannot believe that God has chosen me to do this with my life. Oh, wow. Like,
you give me goosebumps, by the way.
Like, grateful is an understatement. Like, I wake up every day and I'm like, God, is this me? You've chosen me to do this. Like, the way he has turned my life in such a short space of time, gratitude is all I can say. Like, it's not real. It's not normal. I don't take it for granted. Like, it's not from my own doing. Wow. There's no way. I cannot predict whether social media picks you up or not. I cannot predict if people warm to you. I cannot predict, as much as I can do my best, it is always down to, and even the fact that even through it all, my children are okay, you know, my family's okay, we're all protected by God's grace. It will continue.
Amen.
it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
It's a grace, isn't it?
It is.
It's a grace that you've got.
And I think it's so important to just kind of, I'm quite big on just like stay humble. As much as social media kind of forces you to, you know, sell lifestyle small.
Yeah.
I think it's just being like, you know, in the day-to-day, just be so grateful. Yeah, because you never know.
Yeah.
And this is not normal what's happened to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not normal.
It's
You've
not
got
normal.
a grace over your life and you're
Amen.
impacting others, and God knew you were able.
Yes.
He already gave you the tools to be able to do it. It was just the timing.
It was the
and
timing.
It's your time now. So we thank God.
It's the timing.
Yeah,
Yes.
So what advice would you give to somebody that is in that mode where they're in their 9 to 5 and they're like, I really want to make more money. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Been seeing Airbnb pop up a lot on my feed. What advice would you give? How would you speak to them at this moment?
If I'm honest with you, I've realised now that it's difficult to get 9 to 5ers into the mindset for business. I can teach you all the tools. I can teach you how to call a landlord and blah, blah, blah. But I'm realising the biggest stumbling block is mindset. You have to get over yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't start with the objections. Don't start with the excuses. You talk to 9 to 5ers and they're like, but I'm very busy. But I've got this going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it because of A, B, and C. And the A, B, and C they're mentioning, as business owners, you know it's nothing.
Yeah, you can get over them. Yeah, you can work around them.
You can work around it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, the reason I'm here is because I worked around it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need you to do the same. So I think the advice I would give is from a practical sense, save up 3 months of expenses.
Yeah.
From a mindset, go on YouTube and start watching other business owners, even if it's a motivational speech. Start getting into Alex Hormozy. Start getting into Layla Hormozy. Start getting into, there's a guy I watch religiously, Omar El Khattori. Like, start being around it. If you can't physically be around a mentor, I'm going to get onto mentor in a minute.
Yeah.
But if you can't physically be around it, start feeding it into your brain. The mindset needs to change.
Read books. Oh my gosh. There's so many good books out there.
Read books.
Yeah.
Learn about the skill, like learn what an objection is.
Right.
Learn about sales. Do some learning, but do not use research as a reason why you cannot start. A lot of people like to bookmark videos. I saw something the other day that someone said that when they bookmark a video, they've made up a rule that if they don't use that bookmark within a week, they're going to get rid of it.
That's good.
And I said, I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it forces you to take action.
Exactly.
I come across a lot of people who have been like, I've been thinking about Airbnb business for years. I'm like, all right, so why haven't you started? Oh, you know, I'm busy. I've got this. I haven't started a limited company yet. That takes 24 hours.
Is that an objection, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Come on, you go online. It's done in 5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes.
You can literally pay somebody to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
So I would just say, please get into your mindset and find a mentor.
Yeah.
They don't have to be an Airbnb, but find someone doing better than you. A mentor completely changed my life. I found a mentor who was a Ghanaian black girl just like me. Let them be as relatable as anything.
Yeah.
Let them be as approachable as anything.
Yeah.
And she was my first step into business, and I attribute a lot to her. Then I went on to another mentor, and it's been mind-blowing. Be around people who know what the next step is, because you will get stuck. When you're doing everything for the first time, you're going to get stuck. I've been hella stuck. Yeah. Getting that help has been instrumental to your growth.
Yeah. No,
Definitely.
I agree. I'm pro mentorship here. Whatever anyone says about mentorship, it's a scam, it's this, it's that. No, get that out of your head.
Yes.
Get around successful people, and the correlation that they'll all have is that I had somebody that showed me the next step. I had somebody around me that showed me I could do more.
100%.
When you read books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so many books that you read where it's like they had it, whether it's directly or indirectly, there's somebody there that's showing them the ropes.
Absolutely. It's not do you have a mentor or not, it's who's your mentor. When
Right.
you get around those circles. Yeah. It's a given.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And that's absolutely fine.
Yes.
It's absolutely fine.
Yes.
Go and get the knowledge. It's out there.
Yes, exactly. You don't know what you don't know. I love that. Yes.
So what's the future looking like for Mrs. Bree?
The future. So we are opening and growing our Airbnb business
yes,
here.
yeah.
So we actually just came from a client. So we're managing landlords' properties. So we're bumping into people who own properties here, managing it for them, and then opening up our own rent-to-rents, and then also opening up Airbnbs for investors in the UK.
Lovely.
Because most of our clientele's in the UK, we're not going to abandon them yet. So a lot of them are really interested in opening up an Airbnb here.
Yeah.
So we kind of source, set up, and manage it for them here.
Lovely.
So we are getting back into the nitty-gritty. So kind of growing a team, you know, furnishing companies, all the rest of it, and staff as well. Yeah. I completely underestimated how quickly things move here. Yeah. I was like, I'll move here for a month, take it easy, blah blah blah. No. No. Things move so fast here. I was like, oh, find a property in 2 days.
In 2 days. So it's so quick. If you're ready to work, you can work here.
And there's no referencing or anything, so things just go quickly. Go. So that's what the future looks like. So obviously opening that, maybe doing a bit more on social media, being more intentional about it. I think I've been very, hi guys, like, as and when I feel like it, but being a bit more strategic with it, and growing something outside of social media. So I really want to have something that's a bit more meaningful to me, either around children, around community, around, you know, the black folk that are here. So I think that would definitely be a next step. The question that you get, obviously you get loads as well, is how do you move here? How do you move here?
Yeah, true. A lot of people want to move to Dubai, don't
Maybe we can do more to help those kind of people.
Absolutely. I think you'd be great at that as well.
Thank you.
A lot of people are moving. It feels like there's a mass exodus now.
I'm telling you, every other day someone's moving here. I'm always having a call with someone that wants to know more about moving here. So let's turn it into a thing. And it's a great opportunity here. It's a great environment for growth. So
if you're that way inclined, then come over.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Sabrina, for your time today. I've really enjoyed it. It's been absolutely amazing. And for those that don't know where to find you, where can they find you? So you can find me under Propertywithbrii on Instagram and TikTok mostly. A YouTube hashtag. More YouTube stuff. Pending. One day. Oh, thank you so much. No problem. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye.